Hi everyone, welcome to Next Level Humanity podcast. I have a dear friend whom I met in Lisbon and had a great conversation with, and I wanted to host him in my podcast because he's brilliant. I think he is moving towards the next level of humanity. With all the transformation that's happening around the world, we have a lot of topics to cover. Welcome, Jeff. How are you?
Very good. Very good.
Good?
Thank you for your
Yeah.
invitation.
Yeah, thanks for being here. What time is it over there?
It is like 5 in the
Oh,
afternoon
in the
in Hong Kong,
afternoon.
yeah.
Okay, great. And you do like Hong Kong, right?
Yeah, like
Okay.
I'm born and I live in Hong Kong, yes.
Lovely. So you work at the transaction of sustainability, systematic change, technology. When you strip away everything, all the titles, and if we started from your background, from your early story, who is Jeff today? And what's his early life story, and how has your identity, who you are, evolved over time?
I see. Maybe I can like quickly give an introduction of myself.
Please.
So at this moment, like I am running a venture capital. I'm co-founder of a venture capital called Transcend Capital Partners. We invest in early growth stage companies. And before that, I actually started two companies. Like one is a social enterprise which help elders, which is still running, and another is a digital marketing company which went public to the stock exchange 10 years ago. And before doing all of this, like I start my career with McKinsey and Company as a consultant. And when take away all these titles as you ask, I think like the passion of like what I'm doing is I actually like helping people. I myself is not particularly a very good CEO. So actually like I have co-founders like with all these companies and I just like seeing people like fulfilling their dreams. So I think that makes me to start working as an angel investor and then gradually move into a venture capital space. Yeah.
And you also like innovative ideas because we did have a chance to, talk about a lot of projects, some companies you invested, and I saw it in your eyes that you're really excited about innovation and what's new, ideas, technologies, and I think you have found your way of, helping humanity and helping also founders. So, was there a defining moment in your life when you decided you stopped being a professional and then you decided to become a VC?
I think it just happens naturally. I actually just work for McKinsey for about 2 years, like after I graduated from the Wharton School. And then I have been like start doing my own project since I was like 23 years old. And because I have been doing angel investment, so that's why my co-founder, who was my university classmate, invited me to start running institutionalize the whole investment process for early stage company, which also make us more scalable and more capable of like helping more like a early startup in different areas. Yeah.
Yeah, lovely. Shall we speak a little bit about your thesis, how you invest, where you invest, what's your thesis, what's the mission, what's the vision?
Right. Yeah, like we had like for our first fund, we had a thesis of like investing in female founders. So like we were one of the very few fund which focus doing that in Asia. And then our philosophy is that because there are less female founders, like among like all the founders group, so those who could actually make it, like it is like the same like from a more different sample, and then also like we believe like a more gender balanced team like will have a better sense because like there are half women and half men in the world, right? So it doesn't make sense that like all the management actually like male. So it logically leads to that thinking. And then the second fund we are running, we are ESG centric and AI investment fund because like 3 4 years ago I think like AI was everywhere already, right? And so we are looking for more something which are closer to the monetization, something which actually have like clear impact from both business or consumer side. So you can look at us more like as B2B or B2C application with the AI in like a very key domain. And then because like I'm from Hong Kong and like we are closer to Asia, so usually we look for project which originate from Asia and then try to expand both in Asia and Europe and the US. And I think something interesting is that the US market, like it looks like it has everything, but sometimes like you can find something which because like the information is boundless, like with internet, like anywhere in the world you could actually like see all the information. So like the inspiration or new idea can just happen anywhere in the world. But the interesting thing is the valuation in Asia and the US is practically quite different, which I guess
Yes.
like anyone who listens to this podcast would also know, and also like the founders themselves know as well. So we try to help like the founders in Asia as early as possible to build up like their readiness and then expand like to Europe and the US market. So we are looking for like some global winner in a very niche market which originate from Asia. So yeah, so basically that's what we are doing.
Okay, lovely. And because you're investing in AI and you're speaking with founders on AI and technology and how AI is growing, you probably, this is kind of like a philosophical question, but your view, I think, is very important on the topic. So we all know that at one point AI have huge capacity to get out of control because we're creating something much more intelligent and much more faster than us, which is like, we're literally all together creating a god, and it's kind of like a different species, in the world, in different countries, especially because I live in the UK, and in the US the same thing is happening, the immigrants, talking about immigrants being a huge problem and all that, but nobody's talking about AI being the real immigrant, which is
Right.
taking away all of the jobs in the world and leaving people jobless and literally it is great that it's going to do everything and we won't even need to work probably, but then it is going to obviously cause a lot of problems, and some people are even started talking about that it's dangerous and all that, and we have to take precautions and maybe have laws. And I think in Asia, governments have different strategies than, for example, in US. I think it is obvious that we need some new laws. And how is your perception around that topic? Because what I see right now happening is technology is growing in such a vast rate, especially because Google and Elon Musk and all the big, companies and the big guys are involved, trillions of dollars involved. It is going fast. It's such a race that it is almost already out of control. And I don't think governments and the law and the system is able to keep track of that, because governments and people working in the governments basically don't have any idea about what AI is. So what's your perspective about that? Like, how do you see the world in the next 10 years? And do you see any risks? And also, how should be, just your ideas around that topic.
Yeah, I think like that's a very good question, and I have heard a few of your podcasts before with other investors, and there are like different interesting perspectives. So like let me start with like profit making. I think a lot of AI companies actually they do not make money. So from our investment perspective. Also, although the AI advancement seems to be very quick, but in reality, I think in a lot of workplace or in many industry, they are still trying to adopt AI. So we see like a huge difference between what AI can do and how companies are using it or how individuals are using it. And so I think that's the first thing. And then like from our VC perspective, certainly we would like try to invest in companies which actually know how like those AI native companies which have a good business model. And I think just like in any historical development, like in human beings history, if you have something better or more efficient, then it will replace something which is not that efficient. Just like if you have the light bulb, then maybe you don't use candle to light up your room anymore. Although the candle will be used for something else, but it would not be the major way for you to light up the room, right? And just like if you have car, then like you don't ride a horse like as your primary means to travel. So I think from investment perspective, we are trying to look for like the new car or the new light bulb to do that. And the second point is I just mentioned that like although like AI seems to be super powerful or like a lot of things are replacing human beings, I think through an individual levels there are like people have different level of adoption of AI. And I think inevitably the more AI you use, the more powerful you are. There are many different AI tools, and the deeper you use, then the better you are. I think that's you either embrace it or you don't embrace it. It is even you don't embrace it, you know, all the tools are just coming out every day. You can't like no single person or organization or government can stop like the tools coming out.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So and then like a lot of jobs will be lost. Meanwhile, a lot of jobs will be created as well. So I mean, I like because I'm not very native like with English. And then like yesterday I was trying a new AI apps because like at the time when I learned English, like my even our teachers like couldn't speak English basically. So we can't really like grab the pronunciation very well, right? And then because like there is like this AI English conversation, then I was trying it and then I feel like I'm talking to a real person basically, and then like it can correct my pronunciation, the phonics, like all the details in very detailed ways, and then it just wasn't available like 3 to 5 years ago. Like for example,
No.
like Duolingo, it is totally different from like Duolingo.
Yeah.
I mean, Duolingo was using some AI as well, but like different from like this kind of like AI apps just come up like more or less like this year with this level of accuracy. So I think to an individual level, it is a matter of adoption. And then like from a society perspective, like I think there will be a lot of advancement, just like a lot of people we are all witnessing is the singularity, right?
Yeah.
And if we combine a few things together, like quantum computing, the advancement of AI, and then in the past, like we worry a lot about like the depletion of like energy, but we can all imagine like we would be able to come up with like renewable energy like to take care of that. And then in terms of the work to do, like the robotics like advancing like so quickly. And when all of this like combined together, and another great important like a field is also biotech as well as like brain computer interface, right? And I guess like the question you were asking is like whether like AI is going to replace human being like as a species.
I mean, not directly that question, but
Yeah,
that's also in
yeah.
in
Like
the
before jumping to
concept.
that,
That is
that's the
also,
more ultimate, right? Because
yeah.
the first point I was saying is more practical to most people. Like, do you make money with AI? The second question is whether you are still useful as a human being, rather to your boss, to your investor, or to your children, or to your friends. And then I think the more AI you use, like the more powerful you are. Like I think that's just face the reality, right? And
Yeah.
then the fourth question, but before jumping to that, I think from a society level, because some company and some people will be using AI well, and some people and some company are not going to use AI that well, right?
Yeah,
And
for
then
good
there will be
reasons.
growing inequality in terms of like people
Yeah.
wealth. And the problem with inequality is if we understand economics, basically that will affect the consumption market because it's the income effect. When you are rich enough, then like I mean you can't spend that much money, right? The money will be used for investment, and then that will make the wealth to grow further. And then those poor people will have less resources when that's like keep diverging.
Yeah.
So that actually like create like a challenge for the consumption market and also the economy as a whole. I think that like all the government in the world have to take that into effect and then like have like some sort of AI strategy, not just for like boosting the economy or like for defense purpose, but also like from us humanity, like taking all the citizens in their countries as a equal member in some way, and that do like look into different sorts of employment or basic income like covering, yeah, because
Yeah.
there will be someone lose and someone win for like during
Yeah.
the game, and it doesn't make people to feel secure or comfortable to let people just compete with each other, because then we are not using AI to help ourselves, we are using AI to hurt ourselves.
Yeah.
So that's from a
So you
society
don't
perspective.
think you don't think there will be kind of like the winner takes all perspective, because the bigger games are after the taking it
There will
all.
be winners
It's
take
like,
all. Like the problem is, like as I say, a lot of companies do not know how to use AI to make money, and a lot of people are falling behind with learning
yeah,
and adopting the AI tools.
yeah. And
So
that
those
is making the
people,
difference. Yeah.
yeah, that's making a big difference because it's a
Mm-hmm.
big productivity tools, right? And
Mm-hmm.
there will be like, so the inequality will be just widening for sure.
Okay.
So and when that happens, then like then it depends on the ideology of the society, right? Like whether we
Mm-hmm.
want, or the winners takes all, the strong wipe out the weak, or we think, oh, as humanity we, is not just about competing who is like stronger or smarter like than the person besides you.
Yeah.
So I think like it needs to incorporate like that into consideration. Just like what you like asked like at the beginning of this question, right? Do I see people going a lot on unemployment? I think the good thing is a lot of repetitive jobs, like quickly
Mm-hmm.
the AI can adopt it, like or like some dirty job, dangerous job, like the AI can repeat it. But at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
it will take away like people ability to make money, because it is not as easy to change a job from one profession to another profession, right? So I think like that part, like the government has to factor in that as a social cost, yeah. And then the last question will be even further is about like the human race. For example, if we can do genetic engineering to change our brain to be smarter, let's say like there are people who are talking about the third brain, right? Like you do the computer brain interface, let's say like playing video games, like traditional how you play video games is your brain think of something and then you send a signal and then you ask your hand to move the mouse
Mm-hmm.
and then the mouse press it and then the signal sent to the computer again and then like the things move there. So that's how. But then what if your brain can actually like
Signals
interact
to
with
the
the
computer.
computer, go to the
Yeah.
computer and then you skip all those steps, right? Then it's faster. Or like your brain can access like the cloud, or like
Mm-hmm.
you parallel one with an AI with your brain.
Yeah.
Then that's like shall be theoretically much better, right? And then like for example, like I think one step before will be, for example, I feel like we are not doing genetic engineering yet because like that sounds like right, but I think most people will be agreeing, oh, if you use genetic therapy and like for a lot of disease which are not curable
Mm-hmm.
nowadays, and then if you
Mm-hmm.
can use those to take care of a lot of disease, most people will agree with that. And
Yeah.
then once like that become a norm, then people like for the next generation, they will start like doing genetic engineering with their kid, with their babies and their kid. And
Yeah.
then when that combined together with the brain computer interface, then basically that's another species. That may sound a bit far away. I think that will be beyond 10 years, but I don't think it will be more than 20 years to come.
Yeah.
Like
And
for
it's inevitable as
yeah,
well.
it is a sort of inevitable already. And so in the short term challenge, like for everyone in the short term 5 to 10 years, there is the AI challenge for the unemployment, and then
Yeah.
like people getting more anxious. So I think it is ultimately it is a challenge for the human beings is how we use these AI tools from a company level, from an individual level, from a society level to make our life better but not worse. So why we are doing it instead of like just do it because we need to do it. So it is similar to we go to school. Is it just because we want to get a good grade, or and after what like after getting good
Or
grade
is it
what
to
like
really learn? Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think like that's something all of us shall like think about it. But I think
Yeah.
like everyone is pushed, everyone and every company is pushed to learn and adopt or innovate
Yes.
with AI in some way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, that's for sure. So when we come back to your, to your work and transcend and your responsibility over there, you operate inside a very complex system, inside complex systems, capital, reporting, culture. How do you maintain clarity without oversimplifying reality?
What do you mean by without over?
Without, maybe it's kind of like escaping from responsibilities, but staying in reality, staying in the, complexion, which is, I mean, investment world is a complex world. It is, and you have a big responsibility. So without simplifying it, just taking it on as it is, how do you center yourself and how do you remain clear? Because, I mean, as an investor myself, you can lose your clarity of things very easily. Like a lot of projects going on, hundreds of different companies, hundreds of options, and it's like it's really easy to lose clarity. And so how do you stay clear?
I think
On
I think every investor like have a secret sauce themselves. I mean, for those investors who are still surviving the game,
Yeah.
and so once like you find a secret sauce or style of investment, which you feel comfortable, I think can stick with that instead of like just doing things like all random because there are just 100 ways or 100 types of companies you can invest. So that's the first thing. Do what you know, and then avoid something you are not familiar. Even
Focus
that
on what you know.
yes, because like for example, obviously there are lots of attractive companies in the US, right? But then I'm not living in the US, so it wouldn't make sense for me to say, oh,
Yeah.
I focus on investing in US companies.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly I look at US company as the benchmark, as the comparable, what they are doing as well. But like that's not what I'm
Yeah.
doing at this moment.
Yeah.
So that's one example. Like do what we know, what we are
So what you're
good
saying
at.
is kind of like stick to your path, stick
Yeah.
to your thesis, stick to your strategy, stick to what you know, what you
Yes.
you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, because everyone has their comparative advantage.
Yeah.
I think that's the first thing. And then the second, I think like for startup, like it really depends on people. Like the good people can, always make things happen. And also I think it is about like the relationship, like rather
Yeah.
you like when you chat with the founders, you will know, I mean, like a few times, like whether it is the kind of relationship like you can continue. I think that's the same for the founders as well. Maybe the founders sometimes they don't find me or like other investors to be the suitable people to work together because it's a teamwork in a way. So I think these two are the key things on my side, like to like in terms of because
Yeah.
there's just too many opportunities, just like you say.
Got
I
it.
mean,
Yeah.
certainly we have all the tools. I mean, like we have built an AI models ourselves, like within Transcend Capital Partners. We have all the scoring as well, and then we assess like all the data source. But at the end, I think it is about like the people relationship and also like whether we can stick with what we know.
Yeah. Yeah. Lovely, lovely answer to the question. So you work with executives and founders and you are in boards. What has working with boards and executives and being board members in innovative companies taught you about human resistance to transformation?
I think it is very tough to be a founder. I have tried 2 times myself, and I mean, as
Yeah.
an investor, I have the privilege to talk with many founders. A lot of them, we don't have the opportunity to work together, not because they are not good, but just maybe, not in our investment thesis, not the right time, right stage, or whatever. And certainly, I have been as board member and angel and working very close like with some founder as well. I think there are something intrinsic and something external. Like as a founder, like being like resilient. Because like a lot of time we will be thinking that being resilient is like built-in characters. Like I think that's true in some part. Like for example, and then there are another part is like environment. Environment meaning like it is still related to the founders, but it has to do with like its families, like society, or like is like social circles, financial conditions. So I think for the founders, they need to evaluate whether they have sufficient support both from themselves and outside, like to go through the challenges which they face before they start doing a startup because it could be way like compared to like working as an employee, right? You can change your job if you don't like this, but like after you start a company in the middle of it,
You're
yeah,
stuck.
like you should, like when things go south, do you drop the company or you continue? And then so let's say if you have a baby or like if you have a mom to take care, then and then you don't have any income, then how does it work? So I mean, a lot of these kind of practical things need to be sort of sorted out. And I think from an investor perspective, like how we can help the founders is to lower the pressure because I think a lot of investors will increase the pressure
Yeah.
because they always think, oh, the founders are too chill and not working hard. But like, yes,
Founder doesn't have a backup system, then they would crash with that
yeah,
yeah, pressure. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I think that's important, and then the founders need to find some way to help themselves to clear their mind as well, like instead of just trying to work out the work. Because if, for example, if they don't have like they can't maintain a healthy social life, like family life, or like doing exercise, or I mean, when things are not going well, it is very easy to crash. So I think that's something like they shouldn't think they are like superhuman and then just try to maintain the image. The only thing I do in life is to work because I'm very devoted.
It
Yeah,
doesn't work that
it's
way. Yeah, we need
yeah,
support
it's good
systems.
to
They
be
need
human.
support
Yeah,
systems. Yeah, and the
exactly.
founders need the support systems more than anyone else, like family. Yeah, your husband, your wife, family, kids. It's a big support. I agree.
It,
Or friends, your network. Yeah.
and also, I think learning how to quit is as important as
Yeah.
learning like trying to stay resilient at different level. I mean, for example, like when you find the project just doesn't work, maybe just close it is good for everyone, including the investor. Maybe the investor like jack too much time and effort in a project which never work. Why don't you focus the time on doing something work? And the same as the founder. So finding signals to know when to quit is actually more difficult to be resilient.
Yeah.
And so that's what I refer to a total quit. But then along the journey of every startup, there are like some small moment of like quitting something. And it is very important. For example, like for when you're building a product or doing a market, or like when you have hired like a one person, you just need to know when to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knowing
So
when to stop. Yeah.
yeah. So I think like when we talk about resilient, like it's not like, oh, I just keep running and then never give up no matter what. It's not like that. Yeah.
Yeah, to be able to keep running, you have to stop. And I think what has been coming up for me is because I'm as a serial entrepreneur, I have experienced that multiple times, and with friends and colleagues, what's coming up for me is I think it's important to work in your business, but also on your business as well. And a founder's or a CEO's job is stepping back and just having this vision and looking and working on your business instead of being involved, because that might be draining for the founder, for the CEOs. The first job, I think, of the founder is having clarity, having a clear vision, and just and that's gonna help the company more than you just diving into the business and becoming stressed. So I think, yeah, like being unplugging yourself, spending time by yourself, and whenever you lose clarity, just backing up is really important. Maybe the most important thing for a founder.
Yeah, I totally agree because there are different functions. For example, for finance, you have the CFO. For marketing, you have the marketing people. For product R&D, you have the engineer. Every part there are someone doing something, right? But like the tough things about like for the founders or the CEO is you have to put all these things together and then everything keep changing because the world is changing, the economy is changing, the technology is
Yeah,
changing, and your competitors are changing. And
yeah.
then you have to put all the resources together in a ever-changing environment to create values. So basically, that's what the founders do. So when the founders cannot step out and then have a clear mind, it is very difficult like to succeed.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. Yeah. What kind of future do you hope for Transcend Capital to create?
Well, as the name of our fund states, it is Transcend Capital Partner. So we would like to help and then work with companies to transcend to another level. We want to work with founders and then help them to transcend to another level. And definitely with these exceptional people and exceptional companies which they can deliver for B2B, deliver business result to help their clients to transcend. Yeah.
Yeah, great. So over the years in your journey as a first founder, entrepreneur, and then VC, an angel investor, and then a VC, what belief about progress or success have you personally outgrown?
Right. I think success is you define for yourself. Everyone has a
Yeah.
different benchmark of success. I think it is important not to compare with others, which is the hardest things for most people to do.
Yeah.
And also maybe using the wrong benchmark because I mean, for example, as we see, right, we have to be responsible to our LPs, and there are all the matrix DPI, etc. And certainly we have to meet with those external expectations. And just we need to pay the bills for our kid, or some people need to pay, we need to
Yeah.
pay tax. There are lots of external expectations. This expectation, if you are in the game, let's say if you are a parent, you need to take care of your kid. If you are a citizen, you need to pay the tax. I think these are external expectations which we need to meet in order not to be unhappy. But on the other hand, I don't think it is a good idea to use this external expectation become our personal expectation. Otherwise, you will be always living in other people's brain and other people's mind.
Yeah.
But at the end,
Yeah.
honestly, do we care about every single random people on the street? I mean, we have enough things to care, right? Like our close family circle or friends.
Thank you, and thank you, Jeff. It's very valuable. I have enjoyed everything. I learned a lot. I learn a lot in these podcasts from people who are on top of their businesses and on top of their worlds. That's great. Masters, I call. Thank you very much. And thanks to all of our listeners and anybody watching us from YouTube. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now. Thanks, Jeff.